Start streaming. So hopefully we're going to do easy, medium, and hard 6S backlight, but it might just be hard. I don't know. This one I hope is easy. I haven't looked at it. The other two over there, one looked really hard and the other one looked kind of hard. So we'll see if this one's easy. To start us off with easy. We'll see. I got to open it up. And we'll see whether or not this stream is working. Alrighty. iPhone 6S backlight. Alrighty. And we'll see if anybody watches this stream, because I'm pretty sure there's like 2 other microsolderers also streaming at the same time. So we'll see. I wanted to stream now so that we can have a team meeting later and I don't get into trouble for streaming during team meeting. I've been getting into trouble for that. Alrighty. First, we're going to disconnect the battery so that we can take a look. So that we can take a look at this. Now that we're not during course week, hopefully I can have a chance to do stuff like move the camera around. I'd like to get some cameras set up so that we can have a better view of what's going on over here, which is pretty boring usually. It's pretty much me screwing in screws and unscrewing screws. So let's see. Hopefully this is not going to be, hopefully this one will be classic. How did this screw? That one has a stripped screw. Not a great start on the easy one. Let me try a different driver. Hell yeah, sweet. All right, we'll see if I can try a different driver. Lewis is still pissed at you about the wicking video. Well, I can't help what Lewis does. I don't think he's pissed at me. I think he just likes to troll. All right, cross your fingers. Let's look and see if this is going to be classic or not. Show me. Fuck! What? God damn it. Look at this shit. This is already starting off as not easy. This guy says, I picked this one as easy because it says backlight failure, not previously opened before entering my shop. Huh. Wow. Not previously opened before entering my shop. That, he could have given me a little bit of a better heads up, which would have been not previously opened before entering my shop. However, some other dude has clearly been fucking around in here. God damn it. God damn it. All right. So let's see if we can figure out what's going on with it. All right, let's start by digging out the backlight filter itself, which doesn't look as burned up as they usually do. So maybe this one is, maybe we're going to be doing 6S backlight hard. Why can't I get easy repairs? I had that whole last stream of all easy, beautiful, straightforward repairs. But that was then, and this is now. All right, so we're gonna go to low heat and just dig out a little bit and see if we can put our eyeballs on this area. A rubber band. I had one do that the other day. 6S backlight blows from tech damage. Yes, it does. Does it die on its own? It can, but that is incredibly rare. Not incredibly rare. It can. You can develop a short on the backlight circuit by itself. That would happen when the big backlight cap decides it feels like being a wire. But that is far less common. And usually backlight on 6S is the backlight anode filter, and it's usually pretty obvious. This one, it doesn't have that sort of usual sign of backlight filter failure, so this, depending on what these missing dudes are down there, this could actually just be no image. So we'll have to go on a hunt and do a little figuring, see what's going on. Alright, so let's start by checking for simple continuity across the backlight circuit. Yes, Lewis is a troll. Yes, he is. He is a professional troll. As it says on his whatever, LinkedIn or something. Alright, backlight seems okay. Let's check for image filter. How are you doing, image filter? You look okay. Alright, let's test for short to ground. Let's test short to ground on backlight. Fan-fucking-tastic. There is a short to ground on the backlight circuit. So this is actually the kind that can, at least in theory, fail on its own. And you know that because if the damage is on the connector side, which is the classic fault, so if somebody fails to recognize that powering the device off is not enough to actually delete all the power in the device, if they fail to recognize that when you have the battery connected, and if you look on the schematic, you can follow with your finger a clear path from the battery through to VCC main, and VCC main has a clear path all the way through the backlight circuit out to the connector. So there's live battery voltage, even if the device is powered off at the battery connector. Which means if you were to connect a screen, and you know how it is when you connect screens, how easy is it to touch that live battery voltage straight to ground? Really easy. And if you were to do that, you can see what happens on your DC power supply. If you set your DC power supply to battery voltage and you just touch the two pins together, you can get instantly, 2 amps or more of current. And if you look at the rating on that backlight filter, it's rated for 200, or I think this one is 350 milliamps. So it's pretty easy to see how the backlight filter would fail. That's the classic failure. However, when you have a beautiful looking backlight filter like this one, so here the backlight filter is intact. It hasn't been damaged. And yet there's a short on the backlight line. That means that the problem happened kind of in here, interior to the connector area. And that usually is going to happen because of drop or something that is not necessarily technician damage. So we're gonna, let me see if there's I'm gonna put, this one's hard because we have to go find why does it have a short and solve that and then rebuild the circuit from there, which is kind of a pain in the ass. So we're gonna demote that to not easy, and that one is not easy. And let's see about this one. I'd like to start with a straightforward one. So let's look behind door number 2. Let's see what this guy has to say. Backlight iPhone 6S. Or testing to see what the issue is, if not the backlight. And he's going camping, and he doesn't want a package to sit on his porch. All right, guy who's going camping, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this one and see if this one is classic, so that we can do easy and then hard. All right, let's give this one a shot. You stole Chris's time slot. Don't know about that. In fact, I'm pretty sure that Chris was already streaming. So I think there's a bunch of microsolderers. Streaming. Lewis is doing magic on his stream. I looked at Lewis's stream briefly. It looks like he was troubleshooting an internal board short. So I commented, pet board coming up. He's getting ready to make that board a pet. I really do need to kind of do a stream of some of Jessa's pet boards in my pet pile, my pet collection. My iPad Air with the hole in it that I fixed Same kind of thing as what Lewis is doing now. Still have that one. And I made a long video, and I've tried to upload it to YouTube, because first we had to set it on fire before we realized that it was an internal board short. And then I drilled a hole all the way through the entire iPad Air board. And then I had to go back and see what are all the different potential circuits that would be damaged from a hole in that spot. So I had to dig another hole through a known good in order to finally fix all the ancillary damage to drilling a hole in the board. Fixed all that, and then finally, you know, oh, that one even got a PMIC replacement. So that was a pretty serious charging problem, as evidenced by the fact that there is a big hole in the board. All right, cross your fingers. Let's go for classic backlight. Show me classic backlight. Show me classic backlight. I got cheers on Twitch. All right, Twitch is better. Twitch is better, says Kevin. Yay, classic backlight. So you can see that even from here. You guys see that? When you're looking around, you can see right there where the backlight filter is a big burn spot. So that is pretty seriously burned. The backlight filter, this is like a backlight filter jihad. It's a suicide filter. It has tried to eject itself off the board. In fact, I don't think there's much of it left. It's just a big old weld. So this one's going to be a little bit technically difficult because there's no way to actually separate a filter that is that damaged. It is not soldered, but welded. Welded. Metal becoming metal to the board. All right, so we're still going to do the same thing and try to dig this area out a little bit. Okay. All right, let's see. Let's see. Let's dig it out. See all that black? See how it is lifted up? All by itself. It tried to just leap off the board, and sometimes they do that. Sometimes they're actually gone. And it is just connected on that one side. Ooh, that's bad. It may not have, I can't tell if it has a pad left on the right side here. Yeah, it does. All right, good. Classic. We'll be able to get that sucker off. We will be able to get that sucker off and make this board great again. This board is going to be even better than it was. All right. Look at that. Burn. Burn, baby, burn. All right, let's get that filter off there. Jess, is there any way you can add subtitles on your live videos for the hard of hearing? I don't know how to, I certainly don't know how YouTube would be able to do that. I don't know that. I think when I used to teach at RIT, which has a significant deaf population, that captioning was something that required a person. So a person had to sit there, it was a captionist, and actually write the captions. So I don't think that captioning is something that can just happen automatically. Maybe it can now, because that was a while ago, but I don't know how to do that. All right, so we're gonna mini hot tweezers and get this off, at least in theory. And I'm the only one here, so I might have to take a little break because I hear the door. All right, let's puffy pillow these pads. All right, the one is gonna make a puffy pillow easy, and the burned one, that's the one we have to rejuvenate. We have to rejuvenate, and you can see that it's not going to just want to be a puffy pillow again by itself, because it has been insulted and damaged. There we go. It's puffy pillow, yay! So now we'll be able to make both of those accept a new component. All right, let's take 5. Hello, how can I help?
Hey, how are you? I went to the Verizon store. He thinks possibly that sounds
All right, come on over. Let's take a look.
sharp.
All right, I'm in the middle of live streaming on YouTube, so I hope you don't mind.
Oh, no.
All right, so live stream folks, we are going to take 5 on this repair and see what's up with local guy. All right, so what's up? You went to the Verizon store and they said?
He said the battery's not charging.
Battery's not
because
charging.
of the jack. And he said you can either take it to an Apple store or take it to a local, because I'm local, but I thought that'd be the better way to go than the Apple store.
You're right, because Apple Store will not fix charging
And
problems.
Right. So he thinks that it's just that unit that goes into the battery.
Okay, well, let's take a look. You want to see it under the microscope?
Yeah.
All right, let's take a look. So you can see up there, and so can the whole world.
Cool.
We're going to look in your charge port. All right, so your charge port actually looks,
He said it was dusty. He cleaned it out. He said
yeah, and let's see. It might be hard for you to see under here because it's dark. Let's try to lighten that image up so that you can look inside there. And your goal is to see individual pins. Let's see if we can brighten that image up. All right, let's see. Let's add some light. All right. iPad Rehab, where do you get your board layouts and schematics? From the internet, just like everybody else.
That's so cool.
So now you might be able to see there a little bit better. See those pins?
Yeah, I see a lot better.
All right, so you see a little bit. See how let's count. 1, 2, 3. Look at number 4.
That's like hollow or something?
Yeah, exactly. It's hollow,
Something.
i.e., it's missing. It's not there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. Missing, dude. And you can see it's a little bit green.
Yeah.
Tiny bit of green right there.
So that means when the charger goes in, each one of those things has a spot for the charger?
Exactly. Yes. So each one of those does something. So one of them might be, hey, I'm the pin that communicates the data from iTunes to your device, and one of them is the pin that says, hey, I recognize that something has been plugged into me. And one of them is going to be, who are you, charger? Are you a bona fide Apple charger? And one of them is going to actually be the charger voltage itself. So let's do a quick experiment and see if overlaying a new charge port will solve the problem, in which case we can quote you for a charge port job. Well, let's just do a quick test of that and see what the deal is. So guys that are on stream, this is how we use the microscope when walk-in customers come in, so that you can look in your charge port. They can see their own belly button lint. They can, makes it really obvious to see problems like that. So if you're considering getting your microscope, getting one with a trinocular port that lets you have that camera output is really, it's more useful than you would think. All right, now if you went to the Apple store, guess what they would tell you? They would tell you, we cannot replace that part. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
They do not do that.
Yeah,
they
he said, no, if you know a place. I said, there's a place in my hometown I haven't been in.
Yeah,
That's
exactly. So you're HFL local?
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. All right, so we're gonna open this up. At least in theory, these S ones are a little bit hard for my fingernails, but that's the tool I generally use. We'll use the Magic Glass tool. Magic Glass tool is good at all sorts of things, like opening phones. Incredibly useful. Got to get a little bit of a lift so that you can get the other incredibly useful tool, which is professional fingernails. Even Mark, who works here, has to maintain professional, like, lady fingernails.
Yeah.
He's got like one hand that's
That he keeps.
one hand that he keeps pro level. Yes. He's
So if he goes and gets a manicure, does he get a write-off on that?
Yes. In fact, Mark Schaefer, don't forget for your tax time. Yeah, we had some guys that were in here training from last week from Puerto Rico, and those guys had like some really nice manicures.
Yeah.
Like they were like, I'm like, where'd you get that done? They're like, oh, everybody does Puerto Rico. Yeah. All right, so we'll do this. All right. Jessa, just the person I wanted to listen to today. Fantastic, because I know there's a bunch of microsolderers streaming right now. Microscope is boss at diagnosing almost anything. Yes, it is. All right. All right. And these guys are talking about some other phone up there. All right. So what we're going to do is just very quickly we'll overlay a good charge port and see if your phone will pull normal charging current with that. All right. So which Verizon store did you go to? Pittsburgh?
I was in Canandaigua, actually.
Oh, Canandaigua. Nice. Alrighty, so we're going to disconnect your battery, and then we'll plug in.
So it's not like it used to be popping out a battery anymore, is it? Yeah.
You know, it's not bad. It's this, you can see right here, there's 2 screws and a little shield here for your battery. So 2 screws, a shield, and then you can disconnect your battery. This is what you want to do if you ever drop your phone in a toilet. I'll have to go dig up that screw. And it just kind of disconnects like that. Now the battery itself, here there are these little pull tabs, same as if you have command strips on your wall.
Mm-hmm.
So you can pull those out and then the battery will just come out nice and easy. All right, let's keep those together. All right, and then this is your charge port. So this is your loudspeaker, and then under here, this entire piece is your charge port. So let's grab one. This is a 6S. Let's grab a iPhone 7, no, iPhone 6S. And now we'll just see if it pulls normal charging current, because there's a couple other things that can cause a phone to not charge that are pretty common. But since yours has that obvious physical damage, then we'll rule this out first. All right, so battery back on. And now we're going to use this handy dandy little meter that tells us your charger is putting out 5 volts, so that's normal, that's the brick. And then we're going to watch that blue number, which is current consumption, to see whether or not your phone is actually able to suck that charging current in. So that is the gold standard for, is this phone charging, yes or no? All right, so we're plugging it in, and it says that your phone is, it's got to think about it as it boots up. So your phone is pulling normal charging current. You want this to be kind of more or less 1 amp.
More or less what?
1 amp, yep, so more or less 1. So pretty good. And you can see on the screen, so it's boots, and it shows that little lightning symbol, which is the phone recognizing that it's charging. Hey, somebody sent us some cheers on Twitch. Fantastic. Thank you, a guy whose name just disappeared before I could see what's up. Okay, so diagnosis, bad charge port.
Okay.
So if you want us to put a charge port in here, we have to take it apart and install this for you. So that is $50 from us plus tax.
Okay.
So if you want us to do that, I will
pick it up tomorrow.
Yep, you can pick it up tomorrow. We work at night, so all the iPad rehab moms will be in here later tonight. And this is
if you get it done, actually, you won't be able to call me, right?
Oh, we'll just call you right here on your phone. You got another phone? Or you got a wife or somebody?
I have
girlfriend?
I have my son.
Your son?
My son's
all right.
with me tonight.
Okay, so if you're local, we can.
Yeah,
we'll definitely get this done tonight. And
okay,
we can give
great.
you a call. I'd hate for you to have to.
You don't realize business-wise.
Yeah, exactly. I'd hate for you to not have to miss your alarm tomorrow morning.
It's like, damn.
Yeah.
All the calls were missing, and people think like you just weren't answering them.
Oh yeah.
It really wasn't it.
So you run a business off your phone?
Well, I'm a beverage director at the Inn on the Lake down in Canandaigua, but I also sell.
Beverage director? What does that mean?
The Inn on the Lake in Canandaigua.
Yeah.
It's a restaurant, sure. So I take care of all the beer, the wine,
Do
the liquor.
you know how to order bag and box Diet Coke?
Yeah.
Awesome. I want to get a Diet Coke fountain machine in here.
Okay.
Mostly
You
because
want Coke or Pepsi?
Not Pepsi.
Yeah, good. Coke.
Great. Awesome.
Service isn't as great, but for the you know, you're not going to do a huge mass or.
No, we're not. You know, I bought one from Soda Dispenser Depot at home at my last house.
Oh, okay.
This was the house before. And it had the soda gun stuff, and we used to buy it at Sam's Club, you know, but it's just like kind of what they had, you know, so I thought, hey, I should get, you know, a fountain soda in here so that I can do another one at home and, like, you know, actually be able to order stuff. I think that'd be really cool.
The only thing is Coke might not do it if it's not their machine.
If it's not their machine?
If it's not their machine.
Well, if I called them and said, hey, put a machine in here, then I could just take a box, like I could order the
You can order,
box.
yeah, you can call and order the machine. I mean, they don't even charge you for the machine, but you got to use their product.
Awesome. Well, I'm sure, I'm not sure, I don't know, we drink a lot of Diet Coke. You can see the little dead Diet everywhere.
That's my ex-wife.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of Diet Coke, and then we run a course a couple weeks a month, so we're doing a lot of cans that we've noticed for lunch
cool.
and stuff like that.
We've been here for a while. I don't know if you know Joe up at the liquor store.
Joe at the liquor store?
Yeah, Joe.
I've been to the liquor store.
Yeah.
I think I know who Joe is, but I'm not 100% sure. All right, let me get some information, and then I've got to get back to fixing all of these iPhone 6s backlight jobs. All right, so let's just have you fill out name and contact information real quick, and then I'll do formal intake after I'm done with this stream. And we will move your stuff over here, and I will assign that to, let's see, Christy, I think would love to fix this up for you. Christy, we'll get this done. She'll be in probably after dinner.
What do you want on here? I wrote my cell number down. I'll write my.
Whoever you want us to text tonight or call,
Although I think he's.
And put an email address so that way we usually send notifications by email from our ticket system. I'm gonna stick your screws over there. Alrighty. So that beats the heck out of buying a new phone, I bet. Over a
I guess I had
charge
insurance, so he said it would be it's gonna be a lot cheaper. He said they could overnight a phone. Then he was like, well, your battery's not charged. You're gonna lose all your contacts and all.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So then I thought, well, why don't you take out the battery and charge it for me and put the battery back in?
Right. Yeah.
Can they do that?
They can. We do that. We did that for a woman who was turning her phone. She did get a new phone, and then then she had like a few days to turn in her old one.
Oh,
and
okay,
so,
yeah,
but it would not charge, and it was board level. So she came in. It was funny because the funny thing of it is that we did the exact same thing that I just did for you, which is show how this works and show how overlaying the charge port that it was a charge port problem.
Yeah.
And then we said we can either put one in for you, or we can charge up this battery, since she was just turning hers in. And so she said she didn't know, so she left, and then she called back the next day and wanted to know if she could pick up her charged charge port. So she thought that little piece that we were going to charge up the charge port. So no, that's not how it works. So it took us a long time to understand what she meant. She was like, no, you had something there, you were charging it up for me. No, that was just a piece. So yes, we could do that. We could, anyone could just charge a battery for you.
So that's my cell number.
Okay.
I guess that's my son's number, but I think I wish I had my other son's cell phone number. I don't even know his number. You just call him,
Yeah.
But maybe I'll just stop back down with that.
If you want, you can just come back in here, like
how long
9. Oh, we'll be here till probably midnight.
Oh.
Yeah. Stop back in,
Okay.
like 9 o'clock, something like that, if
Okay.
that's not too late.
Okay.
So it's not past your bedtime. All right, I'll
Is
put
that
this
enough
in.
info? Good?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Great.
And we'll put you in the system.
Thank you so much.
All right. We'll see you later then.
Okay. Thanks.
All right, ciao. All right, stream. Who's still watching? All right. Let's see. It would be quicker and cheaper to have a Diet Coke IV drip. Yeah, and better for your teeth. It'd be great. All right, let's see. Use known good parts. Yes. All right. I want Pizza Hut stuffed crust with pepperoni. Wait, do they still even do that? Stuffed crust, wasn't that from like 1985? All right. I haven't been to Pizza Hut in a while. Let's drop a new 6S backlight filter in and see if we can fix our easy one. Our actual easy one. All right, so let's flip back over to Microscope. So is backlight completely dead? Well, yeah, it is now because I took the backlight filter off. Since it was a boiled, blackened, ugly looking piece of crap. All right, so this one is our easy one. The first one that was supposed to be easy turned out to not be easy, so we'll promote that over to hard, and we're gonna do our easy one first so that everybody kind of knows where stuff is. All right, here we go. Let's get this sucker in there. Jessa, maybe an easy one for you, but I'm still learning and not sure where to start. iPhone 6S, water damaged. All right, so water damage right there. Is it for data recovery? If not, stop right there. And don't put time into a water damaged phone. But if it is for data recovery, that's a different story. All right. I would like to do that a little bit better. My tweezer tips are kind of getting worn down, so they're a little thicker than normal. So I'm not 100% sure that that is all the way down to the bottom. Let's drill down and take a good look. All right, iPhone 6S water damage, have shorts across all caps on things that are not actually short. All right, the likelihood that you actually have a short on those lines is incredibly low. So what you're probably doing is you are just using a continuity test and declaring things short. But first, you have to think about those CPU and GPU power lines. So if you look them up on the schematic, they are different than other lines. You'll see on the schematic that they have a very, very low normal voltage. So the voltage on those lines is very, very, very low, the push, the voltage. And what about the current consumption? Look that up on the schematic. Is the current consumption low or high? If it's high, then what does that tell you? Something that has a very, very tiny push, a tiny low voltage, and yet a very, very high current consumption, that is going to, the only way that that could possibly work, the only way to deliver high current with a low voltage is if the line itself has a very, very, very low resistance to ground. Not zero, but very, very, very low. So before you conclude that something has a short, you want to use a different method of detecting shorts. It's not just quick and dirty continuity testing. And figure out whether or not those lines are different than a known good board. I would place a $100 bet that those lines are not going to be different than a known good board. So that is not your problem, almost certainly. All right, so I am going to test to just make sure that I don't have my backlight filter, my backlight line talking to this dude. All right, and he's not. Okay, so that means my filter is good, and that should be good enough to go. So I can get a beep all the way from the filter into the connector. So that is what that filter is supposed to do. So we're going to clean the flux off of this and test. All right, let's see. The phone isn't pulling any power at all and not even getting warm anywhere on the board. So is this for data recovery or not? All right, let's see, let's go back. What are you fixing today? Is there some issue? No, I'm just changing parts on a board just for fun, just for the fun of it. Just take some stuff off, put some new stuff back. Why the heck not? All right, PPSOC, take a look on the schematic and you tell me what is up with those lines and how it is that they are different than normal lines of everywhere else on the phone. All right, where can I find iPhone parts that are used but still work fine, like screens? I have no idea. No idea on that. All right, hell no, I'm not fixing water damage. right. When I use original display, only no original, its backlight works. That doesn't make sense. It sounds like you guys are, again, doing what is difficult, which is discussing phones that are different than the one that we're trying to fix. That gets really distracting in chat. I can't follow along when we are talking about backlight issues. So anything related to 6S backlight is fine, but talking about troubleshooting shorts on phones that are water damaged, that is not related to 6S backlight, and so that makes it really distracting. So we're going to put the kibosh on chat about phones that are not 6S backlight. All right, now let's see what happens when we test this phone to see if backlight works or not. All right, here we go. You're getting some bad advice from mobile device recovery. All right, so I see a battery icon, so we're gonna let this boot up and I'll catch up here. When the electronics start working based on chemical principles. Principal? You mean the guy that teaches the school? The chemical principle? I don't know what you mean about that. Annoying thing, quantum effects, data only. All right, I am absolutely not going to answer your questions for data recovery because you don't know what you're doing. Somebody's memories that's important to them is in your hands. You don't know that a PP CPU line is never going to be short. That is a foundation piece of knowledge that you should know before you take somebody's data into your hands. Send it to somebody that knows what they're doing and learn how to troubleshoot and fix things. Come to the course, learn this stuff. You cannot learn on somebody's data phone. That's not okay. So I'm definitely not gonna contribute to that at all. All right. Here's a backlight question. Can problems with backlight on a 6S also cause no image? Yes. And no sound vibration. I don't know about the no sound vibration. I doubt that. I'm guessing it's all fed by the same line. Nope. So you can look up the backlight line. Very, very clear. Backlight is backlight. No image is completely separate from backlight. But the original insult, when you're talking about plugging a screen into a device that has live power, that original insult is the same, and it will, in addition to shorting to ground the VCC main voltage or the battery voltage that's present at the backlight pin, you can similarly short to ground at the very same time with the same connector other live power lines, and that can cause issues on those lines. So image is separate, but you quite often see image problems hand in hand with backlight problems on the 6S. All right, so we're gonna let this one charge up for a second while I'll put his screws back in here. And this one is in the easy category, so we're done with that, and we can move on to the medium one. The medium one, at least we know what's going on, even though it has a technical challenge to actually being able to fix it. All right, so we're gonna let this power back on. It's pulling normal charging current, and since I saw that battery icon, I'm gonna guess that backlight is fixed. So in go the screws. In go the screws. Alrighty. I just back up my iPhone to iTunes every Sunday. That is fantastic. I back up my phone. I do not do a lot of things that you're supposed to do, like, I don't know, pay your flood insurance, apparently. On time. I don't deposit checks very fast. I will, go to the bank once a month rather than once a week. There's a lot of things that I blow off. But backing up data. I will back up data whenever I have pictures that I would really be sad if I lost those pictures. Like today. I took a picture. Today was medieval day at the middle school. They're down to the last 2 days of school, and everybody had to dress up like some kind of medieval dude. So that means for me, I was busy last night trying to make one of those black plague, the plague doctor with his like face mask thing. So it was, hot glue and suturing this thing together. And then you had to bring a barter item. You had to bring something to barter. So we had a bunch of some kind of kid drink thing that he turned into plague tonic. That was cute. I haven't taken very many cute kid pictures lately. Too busy fixing phones. So I will back up my phone so that I don't need data recovery either. Okay. Alrighty. Took a 6S to a local Apple store with a backlight fail and told it's a write-off. And we have a new deal for iPhone 7. Refuse and take it to the local repair store. Get fixed within 5 minutes. It's like new. Yeah, exactly. Just like, like that guy. That guy had to drive. That guy literally drove past the Apple store in order to come here from where he was. He said he started out in Canandaigua, which is a town over. So we do have backlight. This thing is finally charged up enough to boot. So good for him. He drove past the Apple store. Had he gone in there, they would have said exactly that. Like, hey, we got a new deal. You can get an iPhone 7. Sucks over a clear, obvious damaged charge port. And it's, dozen or so screws. Silly. All right. I mean, the thing about it that's annoying is that that phone is not going. Apple's not going to go like, here's your new phone. Let's throw this one away. Let's go give it to Liam the robot, and he'll just rip it apart. No, they're not. They're not dumb. They're going to put a new charge port on it. And they're not going to charge the next guy. Oh, here's one we just fixed, so we'll sell it to you for $50. Nope, they're going to sell that guy's 6S for $349 with his brand new charge port. All right, so this is charged up, and we are going to let it sit here for a little bit. And let's go look at what's in the pile. So now we're done with easy. And now we're going to have to move to challenging stuff. All right. I have a 6S with no backlight. The coil seems to be damaged, and probably some other related components. Do you have any 6S tonight with the same or similar problems? Yes, the one that we just demoted to not easy is probably going to be a coil failure, despite the fact that I'm wearing my it's never the coil. It's never the coil. So maybe it's not the coil. It's never the coil unless it's an iPhone 6 or 6S. In that case, it can easily be the coil. But before then, it was never the coil. All right, which one is this? This is the one that we're going to do in the number 3 spot. All right, let's look at this one. This one's medium, so this one's coming board only. Jess, I agree with you. If there was anything important on there, I would send it off to you guys for actual data recovery, like in the past. This is basically it. Hey, if you can get the contacts, cool. Alrighty then. Well, then try to fix it, but don't look up PP, CPU, GPU. That's definitely not your problem. Okay, let's take a look at this one and see if we can just guess. This is a 6S Plus, and let's see if we can guess. Let's get the brightness turned back to normal, and let's focus this up. All right. Let's just take a guess at where the 2 backlight filters are. So on the 6S Plus and the 6 Plus and a bunch of the iPads, there are 2 independent backlight circuits, which means there's going to be 2 backlight coils, 4 actually, 2 backlight driver chips, a bunch of diodes, so 2 parallel circuits that are going to lead to 2 backlight anode filters. So let's just guess where those would be. Now, normally, if somebody comes to you with a 6S Plus or a 6 Plus with a backlight failure, it's pretty hard to actually blow both of them. Normally, you're going to connect the screen and you're going to get half dim backlight because one filter is gone. And normally it's the one that used to live there. So this one is gone, long gone, sayonara gone, and it has left a giant crater. So there's no pad there anymore. So that's what makes this one in the medium category, because it's going to be a challenge to get a filter on there given that there's no pad whatsoever. And then let's take a look. This one is going to have no backlight whatsoever because here's where the other backlight line filter lives. This one is also gone, 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 gone. Now this initially would have had the exact same presentation as the one that we just did. So it would have been burned, but still present. So somebody wiggled this off. Somebody poked at it. Oh, what's that? And ripped it off. That's how you kind of get into this situation. All right, let's kind of clean up this area here, and we'll blow away some of that silicone waterproofing so that we can have a little room to work in these areas. So we're just going to use tweezer and knock this off. And hopefully get this fixed before somebody else walks in here. We almost never get walking customers, so I generally don't worry about that, and usually we have other people here that can help them. But right now, I'm the only one here. We're gonna have some, rest of the team will come back for night shift later. We're gonna have to change things up a bit. Kids are just about out of school. We are down to our last 2 days before everybody, like Cinderella, goes back to being a mom. But right now we're doing pretty good. We're not behind on our queue, so things are looking good for summer. Mark is going to come up and live in beautiful Honey Eye Falls with his wife and kids for the summer, which I think sounds like a fantastic deal to get the hell out of Florida. So he will be kind of here during normal hours, and that's how we're gonna roll. Although I did order a sign for the front door that said summer hours, hit or miss, give us a call, we'll send somebody down. Okay, let's clean that up with a little bit of alcohol and see if we can make a plan. We'll make a plan for this one. All right. Oh, I missed some. Oops. Let's see. Bring out your dead. Yeah, totally. Did you see my Facebook post? Andy Bloss? Pretty cool, huh? That was he was really funny this morning. He tried that on and was trying to get it all adjusted. And I'm like, man, that is spooky. You just got to spend all day just walking up behind people, just staring at them. He said he was going to walk up behind people and kind of give them a big sniff through his plague doctor nose and just say, you got 2 weeks. I thought that was pretty funny. All right, let's clean up these pads a little bit. All right, it's never the coil. It is often not the coil. We have had a lot of jokes. So we wanted to do one stream where Mark got Chris Long's shirt that says, you know, it's the coil 100% bro. We were gonna do a side-by-side shirt stream. I really want to update the iPad Rehab shirts anyway, though. I want them to just say no please bro solutions or something like that. I feel like we've had like lots and lots of fun ideas for new iPad Rehab t-shirts. We did get the one that says we'll answer board repair questions for margaritas, and then Mark says we'll answer board repair questions for beer. So we got those. We've got a really awesome t-shirt shop in town run by Chris Held of Reality Designs. Chris does a fantastic job on all aspects of shirts and design. And if you don't have a guy that does t-shirts, you should look him up. Chris Held of Reality, where the T is T-E-E. Reality Designs in Lima, New York. He is a fantastic guy. Just one of those super nice guys. He's always looking to save you a few bucks. All right, so what we have left here are, neither one of these have a pad. What we have left are just marbles that we're gonna have to try to solder on top of. All right, so let's start with this one over here. I totally just made it sound like I'm guinea pigging customer boards. Don't worry, I'm not. Okay, good. I've lost photos before, and I would never do that to someone where there's important data. Good. Told them to the Apple Store. I told them to stick the iPhone 7 where the sun don't shine, and I will give my money to small local repair shop. Well, good. I hope you said exactly that. You can take your iPhone 7 and stick it where the sun don't shine. That would be hilarious. All right. Is it worth repairing my Galaxy S6 that has a dodgy volume button? Sure. And wait for the S9, or should I get the S8? I have no idea what you should do. If you like your S6, fix it. I mean, if you don't like your S6, fix it anyway, and then sell it. I think that that likely the repair for kind of button wear down, that's very straightforward, just like this guy's charge port. I think that stuff is likely to be a less expensive repair than the added value that you'll get from having a working phone. I could be wrong on the Galaxy S6 because there's more risk when you have to open up a screen that is a tough screen that you could fuck up. So I'm not really 100% sure about that. But I, in general, would opt to fix it and then sell it if you don't like it. There's no reason why you can't do that. All right, so here's our challenge. So this is going to be tough. So we could say, fuck that filter. Fuck a new filter. I'm not putting a new filter on there. I am going to just jump from the anode line there that we can see peeking out the little nub of the trace that's left on the anode line, and just jump across there. But that is a problem, and I'll tell you why. When people, I think that it is bad repair to jump the iPhone 6S or 6S Plus backlight filter. Here's why. If you think about this particular device, what is the likelihood that a 6S is going to continue on and get another cracked screen in its useful lifetime? The answer is pretty high, pretty high. It's going to need another screen replacement. What are the odds that when a 6S needs a screen replacement, that it's going to go to somebody, either a DIY person or some dude at some repair shop that's of this sort of wrong attitude of, I don't believe in all this disconnect the battery. If you power off the phone, you're fine, because I've done over 1,000 iPhone 5S, 5C, iPhone 5, never blew a backlight, never had a problem. It's all BS, all this battery stuff. That's just not necessary. So that guy and every guy like him, which is millions of dudes, they're all going to have to learn the hard way about, there is live battery voltage in the 6S, and its filter is particularly prissy, and its connector is particularly well suited to you accidentally touching it to ground. So every one of those dudes is going to learn the hard way and blow a backlight filter. So the likelihood that a 6S is going to be a setup for having that same exact insult of a short to ground on the live battery voltage at the connector is high. If you have jumped the filter is no longer there to act as protection for the whole circuit. So we saw the kind of really serious burned up damage that this filter, this other filter, and the one before it, this is a really common, very, very high energy, big explosion, lots of burn, lots of char. If you don't have a filter there to act like a fuse that burns up and then protects the rest of the circuit, then you are really screwing that customer the next time they have an iPhone 6 with a cracked screen and they happen to go into the first shop that they're nearby, wherever they are in their life. Then they go in there, that guy is going to probably not blow their filter, but destroy their backlight circuit. And when we look at some of these hard ones coming up, then you'll see why you really don't want to do that. If you have a filter there, the filter acts like a fuse, and it's a very straightforward repair. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. We're going to start by trying to attach a tiny little trace wire to what is left of this little nub. And that is going to be a challenge, which is why this one is not in the easy category. This one is definitely not in the easy category. All right, let's see. I just bought a new 6S Plus. I baby the hell out of it. I'm scared it will break if I look at it wrong. Seems like these phones are very temperamental. They're really not. The 6 definitely, but the 6S is pretty robust. Except for the one, except for this guy's where he had, you know, green on the charge port. But all this backlight filter stuff is all dependent upon somebody just being an idiot when they went to change a screen. This would be a much more rare problem if not for people just not disconnecting the batteries like idiots. All right, we're gonna try and get, here's our goal is to try to get that trace tinned without, no, I'm not ready for you yet, get out of here. I'm gonna get that trace tinned without tinning ground. And that's what's hard about that. Can't get any ground tinned up. All right, looks like my trace is tinned. So now I'm gonna get a tiny piece of braid and try to attach the tiny piece of braid to my tinned trace. So let's get a tiny piece of braid from my collection of a million pieces of braid. Ideally, just one tiny piece of braid. All right, something like that. And now we're gonna try to attach it just to that little nub. All right, so that's attached, but I'm not super happy about it. I want to get a good joint there. I want to attach it to that tinned spot without tinning ground. Stop it. I'm going to put a little bit more solder on here. I'm using the micro pencil for this job. So I'm going to get a little bit more solder on that tip, just to kind of condition the tip. Wipe it off and get a wet paintbrush. All right, come on, baby. No, not you. Get off here. I'm not ready for you. Get out of here. Not yet. It's not your time. I really want it to have a certain shiny appearance for it to be a good joint down there. Okay. That might be all right. All right, so let's see if I can bend it. It seems to be pretty stable. Okay, now I'm going to attempt to solder just the other end onto the pad. And we'll try. Sometimes you have to. Sometimes something that's technical like this takes a few tries. All right, that's making a good connection. And now I'm going to attempt to solder the top of my wire to the end of the filter without the heat from doing that making it disconnect from down at the bottom. All right, let's get a little bit more flux in there. And I'm gonna get a little bit more of a wet paintbrush. Just a tiny, 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 tiny bit. Just to be a wet paintbrush. That actually moved a little bit more than I wanted it to. We'll see if it actually can make a joint. I think it has too much motion down at the bottom. I think it might have come off, I'm not sure. Super tiny. All right, that I'm not sure about, but it is best to just test to see whether or not I have the connection that I want. So it's hard to tell whether or not underneath the wire actually soldered to the trace, whether or not that is still soldered well on there. If it is, then everything will work on one side. So we will have half backlight. If not, then we will have no backlight at all. So let's grab a 6S Plus test screen from the 6S Plus bucket. Okay, and let's see what happens. All right, let's see. This is not, what's the main cause of backlight fails? Dropping the phone? Nope. Main cause of backlight fails is idiot technicians not believing that they really do have to disconnect the battery, which they really do. All right. I'm gonna get a dock. I'm not sure if that battery is charged or not, so we can boot it off of DC power supply, at least in theory. And I'll get a 6S Plus dock and DC power supply connector so that we can troubleshoot and make sure even if we don't see anything on the screen, then we want to know that the phone actually is booting and that there's not something else weird about it. All right, let's see. Cross your fingers for half backlight. I don't see anything. Oh, I do. I see an Apple logo. Yay! All right, so that looks like it's gonna be half done, half backlight. Now, let me see if I can hold this up so that you guys can see that. Can you see it? All right, let's let this boot up and we'll show you what half backlight looks like since we've repaired one side but not the other side on this 6S Plus. All right, so we'll let that balance there and we'll scroll down here. All right, we should take this time to talk about our sponsor, Repair Shopper. Yes, we absolutely should. All right, iPad Rehab. Someone should figure out which chemical solution dissolves the underfill. I don't think I would want to do that. I think low heat does a fine job. I think that messing with some kind of a solvent is dangerous. It would require a lot more fume extraction than I want to use. and it would be really messy and sticky, and then I would have to dispose of solvent, which I'm not a fan of any of that. When low heat, just flicks it away pretty easily. All right, yes I did, and I asked a question on it, but you responded in the video. All right, I'm still waiting for the sweatshop green screen. Yes, me too. All right, let's hit emergency. All right, there we go, half dim backlight. Can you see that shadow? So this side of the LCD is in shadow. See that shadow? It's kind of hard to show that. So we've got half backlight working. All right, so that's progress. So that's good news. That means that our jumper is installed, and that's good. All right, so now we can go one of two ways. So on the 6S Plus, we can take advantage of the fact that there are two backlight lines, and I've learned through experience that you can take a practical approach and ask one backlight line, one backlight circuit to power both sides of the screen, and that doesn't have any practical disadvantages. Meaning, if you fix a bunch of them like that and you send them out and you let the guy know, early on I did this when it was simply not possible because someone had grounded out one of the lines, and it was impossible to separate from ground. That the only way to get him a backlight was to have one side power both. So I did that for a few cases way back when, and then I checked in and they did not have any long-term consequence, and I've never seen any of them back. So in a situation like this where it is possible to bring back full backlight by asking the one that we have working to power both sides of the screen, that will work and you won't see it again. That does, and as long as both sides are protected by a filter, that's important. But we have a filter, so we've got our one side protected by the filter, and that filter can protect both sides. So we can look how to do that, and that might be the best option when you're facing a really difficult side. So usually the case for 6S Plus is that one side is pretty okay, it's pretty straightforward. So either it's intact or you can just replace the filter, both pads are good, and then you can ask that side to power both sides. This case, where both sides are quite severely damaged, we kind of have a fail-safe, a way to rescue ourselves if we're not able to place a second filter the way we just placed the first filter, because those are tough. It is tough to do a jumper on a tiny trace that's underneath a filter. All right, but let's see. You are amazing. I watch you every day in my lab. You're the best all over the world. Well, thanks, Yosef. All right. Yeah, we've got to get our green screen thing going for sure. Are aftermarket screens also the cause for backlight issues? I don't think so. I don't think so. Can you tell what the first step when logic board not hitting, not having touch? Start with everything else. Figure out at the connector, follow the lines. What does it take to provide power to that function? What does it take to provide data to that function? And then look and say, are those lines that are important for that function, are they short to ground? Are they open, or are they not being produced? The hard ones aren't really that hard. We'll see about that. We'll see when we get to the hard ones. All right. I found a couple of cheap screens from other shops coming in my area have been blowing backlight filter. Yes, it's not just sort of like all cheap screens are bad and can blow backlight filters, but you can get certain screens that the screen itself will blow backlight filters. So if you take that screen, you put it on a device, you put it on 3 different 6S's, it will blow 3 different 6S's. So you can get a bad screen that will blow backlight filters, but that doesn't seem to be like a universal thing like copy screens blow backlight filters. Don't make that connection. All right, conditioning the tip, yes. All right, what do you do if the nub is completely gone? It's never really completely gone. That's not really possible, right? Because it comes up through the board. It's an elevator. You can knock it down a few layers, but it'll always be there. It's really not possible for it to actually be gone. All right. All right. I've seen tons of iPhone 7s coming into my store lately with a searching no service problem. Fantastic. It's Really hoping they'd have fixed that by now. Great. Well, that I haven't looked into, so who knows what the 7, you know, each phone is different. So the searching no service on the 6 and 6S may be a different cause than on the 7. All right, let's go back and look at this one. All right, half backlight, all or nothing. Okay. Balls fly everywhere. Let's do an iPhone 6 no touch that has no power where it should, like it's missing PP1V8. I don't think you can really be missing PP1V8 because PP1, you know, the PP1V8 LCM, you can be missing that, but you can't be missing 1V8. You know, if the phone is turning on, the 1V8 is brainstem, just like VCC main. So I had one, Joe Ham, you'll get a kick out of this. I had one that is one of these 10 over here. This was from just a few days ago, where it was missing 1V8. So it had, I think it was a 6S, and it had very minor damage, and there was no 1V8 on that 1V8 LCM filter. So Mark looked at it for a while. He did some stuff with the little proximity sensor dude. He found an open line, so he put that back, and it still had it just had no 1V8. So here's the thing that's weird about this. It absolutely had no 1V8. I measured it more than once. Mark measured it more than once, no 1V8. And so I did the next logical thing, and I injected 1V8 into the 1V8 touch line. Because I kind of thought, can't you just power a 6S screen by itself? Like, couldn't you take the screen, since the chips are on the screen, just provide power like externally, and then the screen itself would work and just have data line communication. So I injected 1V8 and touch worked. Yay, I'm getting the data. The data is recovering. I got the backup, I'm parsing the data, and then I needed my power supply back. So I took the 1V8 off, the 1V8 power, I took it back so that I could use it for something else, and it still had touch. So, and it continued to have touch. Then I rebooted it again, and it had touch again. So we've kind of, been thinking that, and Mark has fixed 3 out of 3 of those AP reset line full shorts. So, it's kind of like now the solution for every iPhone 6S problem is inject 1V8 somewhere. And it seems to heal something. So something is like getting stuck open, and injecting 1V8 makes it close, and then it acts normal again. So that is what we're thinking on that. So that one was a very, very interesting case. All right. Okay, so let's go back and see if we can finish this one up. All right, so let's see. That we're going to leave alone. Now let's look at our other area, and we're going to decide whether we want to attempt that same thing again, or go with the tie the 2 lines together. Let's look up the tie the 2 lines together so we can at least understand it. So let's do that. Let's look up. So I'm going to look this up. I think ZXW would probably be the best way to show this. 6S Plus. What's up, everyone? Says Smart Tech Innovators. All right, let's see. Okay, let's drag you guys over here to screen. All right, come on over. All right, so here we go. 6S Plus backlight. So what we just fixed was this dude. So he's going to go from the connector across the filter, and he's going to connect out here to this cap. And if we look closely, we can see that here, so the filter has 2 sides. So the circuit, this filter is a wire. So this is really one circuit. So you could draw a line here. It's really one thing. But the way ZXW works, since the circuit is named differently, look at that. PPLCM BL34 anode connector side. And then over here, the line has a little bit of a different name. PPLCM BL34 anode without that appendage connector. But really that's a wire. This is the same thing. This is one thing. So we have from the pin on the connector going through the filter to this test point here. So test point 25. Test point 25 is connected here on the connector side of the filter. So that is the same as connecting this pin on this side of the filter. Now if we click on the other side of the filter, we can see on the 6S Plus how it goes out here to the backlight driver. So this is the backlight driver for that side, backlight diode, other backlight diode. This is the whole rest of the circuit. Now, on our board, what the problem is now is the other backlight filter. So here we have a problem. We do not have a path. This path here is broken open. So from the other backlight driver, the other backlight diodes, the other big backlight cap, we do not have a path from that side because of the missing filter over here to this pin 3 on the other side of the connector. However, if we look over here, we can see that that side of the connector connects to this test point. So what if we were to connect this side, this working filter, this working backlight line that is protected by a filter, and all we're doing is really drawing a line. We're protected by the filter. All we're doing is just making a jumper essentially from here across. From here across. Then we will be at the distal side of the other filter. So if we could put a wire across the connector, it would be really easy to see that we've got a fully functional backlight circuit. We have the driver chip, the diodes coming out to the filter, crossing the filter to arrive at the connector. Now, since that circuit is protected by the filter, if we just extended it with a wire over here, we would be supplying that side of the screen, that side of the backlight, with the juice from circuit 1. Now, it's not really feasible to actually place a wire across these two pads, so what can we do? We can take advantage of these test points. Since this test point is essentially the connector, and this test point is essentially the connector, all we need to do is to place a single wire between these two. Now, we don't want to add a filter between these two wires because we would not we're already protected by a filter. We wouldn't add another filter just to extend that line over there. It's already filtered. So what we're gonna do is just lay a wire between those two test points. And that is Jessa's 6S Plus jumper solution, which I've made a video on this before, and then I noticed shortly after I made a video that then these other dudes are, suddenly coming up with the same thing. So that one was, there are a few things that I kind of feel hey, I kind of shared that was my idea. But that's one of them, the 6S Plus jumper solution. Surely lots of people independently came up with that, but it does get it does get annoying when you come up with a solution that's kind of creative, that is a little bit outside the box, and then boom, 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 the other channels then do the same thing and fail to give credit. I try to give credit wherever I'm aware. I always try to give credit to Chris Long for doing the experiment with the M1 proving. He's the guy that actually proved that M1 causes the gray flashing bars. That was his work. Larry Johnson was the guy that came up with the idea of, hey, let's put a future-proof shield on. That was his work. Joe Ham was the first guy that I saw using the UV light to look at traces in the long screw damage. Man, we had a tough, annoying case of long screw damage in here. We had a case of long screw damage, fixed it, put it in the little UV solder mask, UV cure, and then took it out, and it was late in the day, but because I kind of forgot about it in there for a while. And then it was like, oh shit, I got to get this reassembled. So I assigned it to reassembly tech. And then this morning it's back on my desk. Why is this not working? And she tried to put a screw on top of the long screw damaged spot and long screw damaged it. God damn it. That was super annoying. So I will be sure to yell at her. All right, so that's all that takes. Now let's see whether or not that is going to produce a full backlight. We'll see whether or not that's going to produce a full backlight or not. Let's see. All right, so we've got a screen. Let's go with the battery this time, just so that we can hold it up a little bit better without having to struggle holding the DC power supply battery connector in there. All right, let's see. All right, I don't know, it looks a little gray. All right, let's see if that comes up full or not. All right. A transistor inside an IC somewhere needs to be greased for the 1V8. Yes, transistor needs to be greased. All right. Do you want to fix the baseband modem IC iPhone 6? No, I do not. If they're coming from the same line, no problem. If they're on separate lines, then you might be overloading one line. Yeah, you might be. What's the practical test? Ooh, that didn't work. I still have a shadow. Wah, wah, wah. Not enough. Let's see if I got my test points right. I might have fucked that up. Let's check. In practice, that you're absolutely right that you might be overloading one line. So that's why you have to do those practical tests. And for us, that was either it's, you know, hey, this cannot be repaired because you have fully grounded one line, or, you know, we can do this for you. Oh, there's a wire in there. That's not good. All right, let's check. Am I on the right test points? So let's check. Do I have... Ooh, I wonder if I'm not getting backlight because I have schmutz in my connector. That I doubt, but let's clean that out. And let's make sure I connected the right test points. All right, get out of there, you dirty mongrel. All right, there we go. Okay, let's test for continuity to see whether or not I have a line there. Ooh, what phone is that? All right, I do, which should be enough to power that. So let's see if that's going to work. I'll try this again, and we'll see. So whether or not you're overloading those lines, that's a practical test. So you have to do it and then follow up and see whether or not that phone experienced any kind of down the road problem. Alrighty. I might have to go sign a paper or something, so I might have to take a break and go return that call. We have to deal with all this stupid flood insurance shit, and I don't want to get in trouble. All right, now I have no backlight and no current draw. I'm going to guess that that's because my dock connector isn't on very well. Let's see. Let's see if we can get this to work. Let's go back to DC power supply so that we know what's going on. So that we know if it is actually responding to the prompt to boot. Or it could be because I didn't have my cable plugged into anything. Also equally possible. All right, let's see. All right, it still looks kind of shadowy to me. So I think that's going to boot up half dim, which means that I do have an insult on the line that I know if the line is healthy that it can power both sides. Actually, I'm not sure I've ever tested that. It may be that I've only tested it the opposite way, that it may be that the sort of big backlight line is the other one, because that's the one that tends to be solid, and this is the one I just fixed is the one that tends to be really violently damaged. So if I'm in a situation, I don't know that I've ever tried to let this line power the other line, and instead I've always just fixed the other line first, because that one is usually the one that is less so violently damaged. So we'll see. We'll learn something. All right. Oh, good. This guy gave a passcode. There's nothing worse than rush data that does not provide a passcode. All right, so this is still half dim. See the shadow? Half dim. And the other side does not have a shadow. All right, so now we'll say that we don't have any choice. That's good to know, that it looks like damage on the side that's not called BL34, the side that's just called BL. So this one is the little side. Can't power both. All right, good to know. So now we really have no choice but to get that other side working. All right, so let's do that. Okay, so now we're in for the same repair. Okay, let's see. Schmutz? Yeah, connector schmutz. Everybody knows that, right? Technical term, connector schmutz. The pronunciation is schmutz. All right, so let's get that nub tinned. And I'm making my wet paintbrush again. So the goal is to get the nub tinned without touching ground, and I can see that there's already a little bit of ground that's tinned there, which is going to make this one a little bit more difficult. Plus the fact that this side is really a nugget. It is not a pad really at all. I'm kind of tempted to just put the filter somewhere else entirely and then route both sides to it. But we'll see. All right, let's drill down really close and see if we can get that nub tinned. And it really can't be ground, and I see something that looks like, I'm not sure if it's still the line or if it's ground. That is really tiny. That's really a question mark. All right, we gotta get a multimeter down there and figure out what's going on. We gotta find what's ground and what is the line. We really can't have this line go to ground. All right. Okay, let's see. Let's see. I'm going to put a probe on ground. Try to figure out what in there, if any, is ground. Not good. I hear ground. That is going to be a challenge. All right, so we might have to do a long jumper, which I really don't like doing long jumpers. All right, let's make sure this side is not ground. All right, that side is not ground. All right, let's see. Is there any place I can stick this aside from right there? Might be time to just give up on that particular pad there. Let's see if we can separate that nub off. Get off the ground. There you go, buddy. Oh, that is so beat up in there. All right, let's see. All right, let's make sure that we don't have ground in the connector. That's the main thing I'm worried about. All right, we don't. Okay, good. All right, so for here, I'm going to do a jumper from, I'm going to seat the filter on what's left of this. Probably going to stand him up tall so that he can avoid that area, and then I'm going to make a jumper that goes over here straight over to the pin. Let's see, is there another cap or something in there? Let's go look at the screen. All right, let's see. Yeah, I could go to either this side of the cap, which is probably what I'll do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to seat the jumper standing up on this pad, and then I'm going to connect it. I'm not going to try to get in there. There's too much ground. That's just a mess. So I'm going to seat him standing up, and then I'm going to go from the top of him over to either this cap or straight to the connector pad. So one of those. So that's going to be our plan. That's going to be our plan. So let's go back and make that happen. All right, so let's grab, let's get our jumper wire in here first. Let's get rid of some of this. Let's get that dug out a little bit. All right, so let's get a, let's see if I have a piece of wire. I think that the magnet wire is going to still be too big, but it is insulated. And I think I might stick with my braid jumpers, but I need a bigger piece. So I'm going to cut some more of my lifetime jumper supply. So I'm just going to cut some braid and try to cut a pretty big piece. So we'll tease that out. All right. An iPhone every year is not needed. Probably true. I still have the iPhone 6, the beautiful iPhone 6. We need a mod to ban this guy that is talking about his baseband repair. That is not okay. All right, let's see. Alrighty. Let's get a long piece now. Long piece of wire. Not 3, just 1. 1's good. 1 is good. All right, so we will tap in here at this cap. Oh, you can't see that. Whoops. Here you go. All right, I'll turn this station back on. The iPhone 999S Plus. This is not the 44 gauge. I don't have any idea what gauge it is. It is the braid gauge. Using braid gauge, my favorite gauge of them all. All right, let's get a wet paintbrush. No, don't make a bridge next to your buddy. That's not what I asked you to do at all. That's not what I asked you to do, fucker. Just go right there where you're supposed to. Do what I tell you. Make a nice robust one. All right, let's stretch him out. Stretch out, mofo. Let's get rid of the end. Okay, now let's grab a filter from the strip of filters, which ran away. Where are you, strip of filters? You are all, I've had many backlight filters. You are not the right size. Here we go, 6S backlight filters. One of the students, I handed him like a strip like this, you know, and they are really tiny, and they're remarkably tiny if you haven't been working on that scale. And he just like went like this, and 40 of them rained down on his station. Whoops, that's a lot tinier than I thought. All right, let's see if we can get this dude more or less where he's supposed to go. So he's gonna go somewhere over there. Let's get the rest of these out of the way. And let's see if we can make him behave. All right, time to behave. All right, you we're gonna come back for later. And you are gonna go right on there. Yep, right on that little pad without touching any ground. Good job, buddy. Good job. Good job, buddy. You're just gonna stand up right like that. And we're gonna leave this guy tall so that he can't touch anybody else. I think you came off. You sure did, you fucker. That's not what behaving is all about. That is, in fact, misbehaving, which makes you an asshole, and nobody likes an asshole. So, I recommend that you sit down on your pad and shut the fuck up. All right. First, you need to be on here a little bit better than you are. There you go. There you go, nice and robust. And now, sit down on your pad. Don't touch anybody, keep your hands to yourself. Good boy. Good boy. All right. That is probably okay. I'm gonna lift this up a little bit. Nope, that's not okay enough. It's really hard to solder on top of what is not a pad. So we're gonna try to tin that a little bit better. And I'm gonna switch to the mini hot tweezers so that they have enough thermal mass to deliver the heat that we need in that spot. All right, so these guys are bigger. Wipe that smudge off. Oh, that probably had it right there. Get off. Not right. Not your turn. Not your turn. Yep. All right. That is probably okay. Well, it's tough because it's not really a pad, it's a marble that is not attached very well. So that's going to make it have this sort of play. Let's get rid of the end of this. All right, let's try a different angle on that. I don't want for you. Here, let's get on your trace. You got a little bit of trace that we can work with. It's just tough because there is metal that is not a pad that is now part of the pad. And there's really nothing you can do about that other than ripping it off. All right, let's mess with this a little bit more. I hate soldering on top of marbles. Okay, let's get this back on. All right, let's check with the multimeter to see whether or not we have what we're supposed to have talking to each other. First, we're going to get rid of our failed wire plan. Make sure those guys aren't talking to anybody. All right, now let's see what the multimeter has to say about all this. All right, so what I mostly care about is ground. So I'm going to put a probe on ground. And I'm going to say, are you ground? Yay, nice and quiet. Good. Good, no ground. And from just the trace. Yay, I go to the connector. Awesome. All right. And now it is time to test. Well, let's see. Let's see. And then it will be time to call home and see if I'm in trouble, or if I need to go sign papers. All right, this is super tiny. All right, here we go. Damn, this is an awkward one. Yes, it is. That's why it was not in the easy category. It was in the medium category. But at least we didn't have to really do any diagnosis. So this is all still straightforward, you know, break, fix, make it connect. Got to talk to what he's going to talk to. Okay, let's see what happens. Oh no, the camera. God fucking damn it. That sucks. Ooh, I think it's going to work. All right. And how will I show this to you guys? Can you see under the microscope. I doubt it. Let's turn off the microscope light. Let's see. Let's see if this screen can actually be picked up by the microscope. Let's see. Do you see the Apple logo? Nope, not at all. Damn. God damn it. Full backlight. Hooray. But I have to show you guys that. Let's... Ooh, look, you can see the number 2 there. That's pretty cool. Look at that. That is pretty cool. You guys can almost see. Ooh, what happens if I just turn this down? Ooh, there we go. Let's change the contrast. Does the contrast make it so that you can see the display? That's pretty cool. Look at that. So you can kind of see that there's an even layer of light all the way across the screen. Hooray. But I will just, yeah, there we go. Now we're at his lock screen. I will see if I can hook up my Lewis mod that he sent me for my camera. I was using it off the battery, but let's see real quick if I can resurrect this camera just for a second. With the DC power supply battery mod. Alright, let's turn on this DC power supply that I hooked up over here. And let's shove a battery up into this. And let's see if it'll work. Okay. Looks like it is gonna work. So Lewis sent me an adapter, which was super nice of him. God damn it, that should work. Oh, I took out the USB input. He sent me an adapter to make it so that my camera, I could power it off of DC power. All right, is that working? Yay! So I don't have to run out of batteries anymore. All right, and the moment of truth. This phone is not on anymore. All right, what's going on? Let's see. Connect. 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 And it is gonna boot with a full backlight. All right, so let's let that come up. Let's get caught up on here. Why are you using an L filter here? Why not just wire? We already covered that. You want to have a fuse that will protect the circuit, because it is highly likely that this circuit will be insulted again in its life. So there we go, full display, no shadow. All right, so there we go. So now this one absolutely has to get some solder mask. So we will put on it some of the green stuff from the iPad Rehab Supply Shop. We're gonna put that on there. This is like a UV curable. It's like nail polish. It's a coating that will insulate those jumpers that we do have on there to connect the filter. The filters, both of those, the filters are there because you have to have a filter. If the other one wasn't so difficult, it would be fun to show you that if I take off that first filter that we did, that then this line could power both sides of the phone, because the other side is sort of the little line. But that's way too much of a pain in the ass, so we're not going to do that. And so then we'll put solder mask on it, and then we'll put it in UV to cure it. And that leaves us with the hard one, which I need to take a break and return some calls, maybe go home and make dinner. But I might stream those other two hard ones because it's a different, I know one of you guys were asking about what if you have a short to ground. So the first one that I looked at is short to ground. So short to ground is the opposite problem. It's not filter at all. These two were both classic blown filters. The easy one was easy filter, and the hard one was two really damaged, really blown filters that were missing both pads. Then I have a fourth one over there in my hard pile, where I don't know what's wrong with it. So that one will be quite investigative because it doesn't have backlight, it doesn't have blown filters, it doesn't have an image problem, and it does not have a short to ground. So who knows what's up with that one. So that one's in the hard category as well. I need a backlight repair for the iPhone 6s Plus, please. Fantastic. Send a quote request to the iPad Rehab website. All right. Will you use anything at the end to stop all the parts moving with everyday use? Yes, that's what that hard coating, once it's UV cured, is as if it's part of the board. So it's kind of like building that into the board itself. All right. Let's see. What's going on here? Just a little bit of filter work. I hate it when that pad gets destroyed. Me too. I just found my first 0.5 millimeter soldering project from 10 years ago. Awesome. Chat is super tame. Yes. Yeah, I need a mod to go delete the dude that's telling people to go watch his whatever the well-known to not work iPhone 6 baseband stuff. You know, that is not okay to come troll for stuff. All right. Yeah, this Tarek Allen guy. Okay, so I'm going to end this stream and we'll see if we want to continue on with backlight stuff in a few hours after we get some shit done. So I will click off and see you guys next time.